Welcome to Ask the Expert with noted radio host Steve Sleeper. Each week, Steve interviews entrepreneurs and professionals and shares their intriguing stories of success and service. Now, here's radio veteran Steve Sleeper.
And today we're speaking with Thomas Nicholl, who's a personal injury attorney at the Thomas Nicholl Law Firm in Orlando, Florida. Thomas, how you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks, Steve.
Oh, good. Hey, tell me about your firm and yourself.
Well, I started off being a veterinarian, and I was a veterinarian for 20 years, and then I unfortunately got involved in a car accident at one of those intersections where the other person was supposed to stop, and I wasn't, and he didn't. So after I came out of hospital a week later, they told me that I better find something different to do. I was actually practicing with racehorses at the time. So I went to law school, and I'm now practicing in the area of law, which is appropriate for me getting injured myself.
Now, tell me, I'm noticing an accent there. It doesn't sound like a Florida accent. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm actually from Ireland. I came over here in 1975, and I guess I just forgot to go back.
Okay. Well, Thomas, tell me, if I've been in an accident, why do I need an attorney?
Well, you don't actually need one, but there have been numerous researches done, even by the insurance companies themselves, which indicate that you're liable to get between 3 and 5 times more if you have an attorney representing you than if you try and do it yourself. By way of explanation, I had one person who had agreed with an insurance company to accept $2,000 for her injury. They, of course, did not tell her that she would have to be responsible for the $6,000 in medical expenses. So had she done it herself, and this was before she contacted me, it would have actually cost her $4,000 to get hurt. After engaging our services, we were able to get us $30,000, and all was well.
Yeah. So the insurance company isn't, if I'm in an accident, the insurance company's not necessarily going to take care of me on that then, huh?
Well, I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. They will come across as being nice. We want to help you. We want to get this settled quickly. But the thing to remember is that their primary concern is for their own well-being. So they do want to get something settled either for nothing or for a very little amount of money. And they consider that a success, not whatever they might have to give you as regards your pain and suffering.
I see. Okay. So what should we be looking for in a personal injury lawyer?
Well, I would think that you would want someone who is, first of all, experienced and competent in that field and is not going to take on a useless case, and if they are going to take on the case, that they should fight that case aggressively and pursue it to get you as much as you possibly can out of your injuries.
So what's the cost for coming to an attorney?
Most of the personal injury cases are taken on what we call a contingency basis. In other words, if you get nothing, I get nothing, and if you get a lot, I get a percentage of it, usually a third, something like that.
Okay, now let's say I get into a car accident, and I'm maybe I've got some injuries, and I'm probably not thinking clearly. I've just been injured. Is there some things I should know in advance about that situation?
Well, the first thing you've got to consider is make sure you take care of whatever injuries you may have. The second thing is that under Florida law, you have to see a doctor within 2 weeks of the accident. Otherwise, you can't collect. The third thing that you should be concerned about, and everybody has the same gut feeling, is to say, oh, it's okay, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. And you may not be fine, or quite possibly the next day or the day after, you may be a whole lot worse than you thought you were to start with. So I would say, first of all, take care of any immediate problems. Don't make or don't assume that you have got no injury if it's not apparent. And anticipate, if you do make any kind of a claim, that it will be fought. So if you are capable, or if one of your friends is with you, it is a good idea to take some time-stamped photographs, get some witness names, contacts, incident reports if there are any, if it's in a store or something like that, and try and document as much as possible, because sometime down the line you can anticipate that the insurance company will fight you tooth and nail as to what happened.
I see. Okay. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. What is workers' comp?
Well, the workman's comp is basically a scheme for compensating you for any injury, but it is confined only to injuries sustained while you're working. Usually the term of art is in the course and scope of the employment. So in other words, if you're working in a store and you're stocking the shelves and the shelf falls on you, that would be covered by workman's comp. If, however, you've gone home and you go for a drink in a bar and you fall off the stool and hit your head, that would not be covered by workman's comp.
I see. Okay. Okay. Anything else we should know, Thomas?
Well, I would strongly encourage you, this sort of loops back to your first question. I would encourage you, if you were injured and you think that possibly somebody else is responsible for your injury, that you should contact an attorney. I think I can be of service to you because of my past medical training. I can review records and be able to give you an honest assessment at no charge as to whether or not your case is viable, or if it is viable, as to how much it is likely to be worth.
Now, one other thing, just looking at your website, and this is something I haven't seen before. Animal law, medical law. Tell me about that.
Well, needless to say, having been a veterinarian, I instinctively drifted towards the animal law area of that practice, and that encompasses a lot more than people originally think. They often think, well, does this mean you represent my dog? Well, it's really the owner of the dog that you're representing. If somebody else's animal hurts you, or if your animal hurts somebody else, is the common things that happen. All the violations of the county code of animal control services, but even more far-reaching real estate contractions, non-compete clauses for veterinarians, practice purchases. They're all encompassed into a rather broad field of animal law.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, now it makes a lot of sense. Well, our guest today on the show has been Thomas Nicholl, the Thomas Nicholl Law Firm in Orlando. How can we reach you?
Well, the website gives contact information both for office phone and fax and email, and most everything is done electronically within the state. So the fact that you're not within the Orlando area isn't necessarily fatal to taking any action because almost everything is done electronically. And we do phone consultations as well. So there are multiple ways of getting the hold of this office and for this office to perform any function you want.
And that website, by the way, is thomasnicholllawfirm.com. So that'd be Nicholl with 2 L's, Nicholl, thomasnicholllawfirm.com. Thomas, thanks for being on the show today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Expert with Steve Sleeper. Join us next time as entrepreneurs and professionals share their intriguing stories of success and service.